Welcome back to Mera India. And as you know, we were discussing very hotly about corruption in India. We were talking about corruption in America and in Britain and comparing and contrasting the role of corruption in the development of a country like India. Now, whether it is because of the development of the country that there is more corruption, or some people say because of its corruption there is more development. But I don't think. If there were less corruption, development will be faster. That's my premise. Whether it is right or wrong, Madhuji, tell me.
I'm sure if there is no corruption, that money goes into the government treasury. And if there is a government treasury, and then the development can take place very fast. If you remember during NDA's 5 years, the golden quadrilateral roadways was happening so fast, and immediately after the NDA finished, that was put on back burner. For every development, communication is the answer. In Britain, before World War II, there were no roadways, motorways.
That's right, yeah.
They have seen that how the German was moving their army on the roadways and the autobahns. And then Britain realized that we need to improve our communication skills if we want to develop ourselves. So India, for the last 60 years, until the NDA comes, nobody thought of these things.
About infrastructure.
About infrastructure. Why? Why did he not think of? Nehru was 18 years. Has he ever said that we need the communication to go to every village? There are no schools in some of the villages even today.
That's
when
right.
Last time I went to India, I went into Konkan area just to travel around, and I saw 12-year, 13-year-old boys and girls carrying the pot of water. And I asked them, where are you getting it from? They were walking for 2 to 5 kilometers to bring the drinking water. 65 years of independence. Villagers have to walk to bring the drinking water. I wrote that thing to Maharashtra Chief Minister, send the copy to the Prime Minister. Nothing happens. It goes into the dustbin. Because they are not concerned about the real development of the nation. And you see, within 10 years, how the Gujarat has changed its face. I have seen some of the photographs of the roads and the bridges and the gardens, everything. I initially thought they are from America or some developed country. But at the end, that fellow has written, this is in Gujarat, not in Western nation. How can that happen in 10 years and nothing in the villages for the last 65 years? See, sanitation. That fellow Jayaraman says that we need more toilets than temples. Have you just realized that we need toilets now? What has been happening for the last 65 years?
That's right, yeah.
So, this kind of statement giving just to tell the public that we are doing something good is wrong. People have now realized. We will see after the whatever the election, whether it will be in 2013 or 2014 or whichever year, you will see the public have realized they are not talking. And moreover, I came to know recently that in one of the municipal corporation elections in Maharashtra, the people were given 1,000 rupee note per head to vote. And some of the villagers have taken the money and did not vote for Congress.
But they have taken the money, all right.
They have taken the money.
Yeah.
Because there is an understanding that this money is coming to us because this is our money. This is not the political party leaders' money. That way people are changing their view about the people who give this money or clothes or whatever it may be. They are taking it, but they are voting against. They are in minority. They are not in majority, because majority people are scared that the person who gives the money will come back tomorrow and say that did you give it the vote or not. But some people are very clever. They are keeping the money and voting for whichever candidate they would like to, because they have seen what has happened for the Congress rule for the last 65 years.
Well, I
It is
think
changing.
This is the whole beauty of a democratic country. If not today, because I remember Jawaharlal Nehru used to say the same thing, that democracy is itself an educational process. Because if you go, I remember in 1947 and 48, he gave universal adult franchise to every illiterate person who got the right to vote. And many of the educated people at that time used to say, Nehru is wrong. He should have given to only those who were matriculates at least. They should have got the right to vote. But Nehru, I remember one of his speeches, he said that thing, that democratic process itself is an educational process. People may not agree on that, but the fact is that the last 40, 50 years, gradual elections which are being held in India and the governments are changing hands. Perhaps now the time, as you have said, now the time has come that people of India, the voters, have started realizing
Exactly.
that they have power.
Well, talking of corruption, we have to think out of the box. We have tried the usual ways of making rules, implementing rules, and trying to see if they work. You mentioned light-heartedly about Bombay being the capital of corruption.
Yeah.
But a gentleman, an engineer from Bombay, has come out with a very unique economic solution. His website is called arthakranti.org, and you must try to visit that, arthakranti.org. He has given some very simple solutions, and he tries to meet up with the presidents and RBI chairpersons to mention that, and he is getting a lot of support. Very simple idea. He says, and quite clever, banish 1,000 rupee notes, 500 rupee notes.
Yes.
The maximum denomination of notes should probably be 100. If, just think about it, all corruption happens, or majority of corruption happens in currency.
Yeah.
The minute you say,
Suitcases,
give me 1 crore rupees in 100 denomination, they will need a truck for that very soon. All transactions to happen only through banks. You can actually get rid of income tax by charging all transactions probably a percent or two on every transaction. And that could effectively earn more money than the income tax system gets you. But if every transaction is happening through a bank, through a credit card or a card, the concept of exchanging or giving money and being open to corruption or facilitating corruption, and think about the high currency notes that the ISI is printing on behalf of the Indian government. It is alleged that 5% of the higher currency notes are fake, are counterfeit, coming from Pakistan.
That's a fact.
If that happens, if the minute the higher currency denominations are cancelled, it would not make it economically viable for anybody to print a fake 100 rupee note. It is much easier and value for money to print a 1,000 rupee note.
Naturally.
And Indira Gandhi had abolished 1,000 rupee notes in her time.
She did.
But the same thing, it should be abolished for all. Which other economy has got notes of such high denomination? Normally, the highest denomination of the currency that you have reflects on the average income of the family.
Yeah.
Or the monthly income of the family.
Yeah.
So, according to that calculation, UK has 50 pound note as the max. India should probably have 100 rupees as the maximum. Small things like this will effectively make corruption that much more difficult. And thanks to computerization, record keeping improvement, small corruptions, like we say, day-to-day corruptions, like reserving your seat,
Yes,
all these things have come down in big way.
But Baba Ramdev did say that. Once he said that we should have get rid of this high denominational notes. He did say that.
Yeah. This is Arthakranti's, they approach Ramdev as well. Baba Ramdev is obviously the man to approach for anything to be done.
So now he's in trouble also.
So anyone who says anything against the Congress, they will be in trouble.
Yeah, but the courts are there to stop the
Yesterday, Subramaniam Swamy has given an application about the Rahul Gandhi's taking over of that media house, and that he has given to the election commissioner.
Yeah.
How did that application go to media?
Oh, it was leaked by the Election Commission.
Yes. Now he said that this is not in my purview. This has to go to the court. This is what the media has said. How can he give this one to media? And how can he give the statement without asking the legal requirement of what is the reason behind a solicitor of Indian origin, who has studied Subramaniam Swamy like a law minister once upon a time. If he says something, is it not the duty of the election commissioner to study what it is rather than giving it to the media?
Yeah,
so
but
they are afraid. They are afraid that if they take any action against the political masters, they will be punished for that. And that is the reason. And it has happened already.
Oh, yeah.
When that Ashok Khemka has taken the action, immediately he was shifted from the place. I will tell you, this is the story of today. 1975, a district collector of one district where I was working was supposed to renew the raw material license to a big industrialist in that area. That industrialist was showing that his factory, which was producing the goods which were being sold to the government at a higher rate, he went there to find out how much are his expenses.
Okay.
And that time he said, you are getting the raw material for 7 rupees per ton, and you are selling the finished product to 7,000 per ton to government. I want to know your expenses. What happened? He did not sign the renewal license. Within 24 hours, directly from the Prime Minister, he gets the transfer order.
Yeah.
So that kind of administration, that kind of political maneuvering is harmful for the nation.
But that is happening in India quite often, isn't it?
So who is responsible? Both. The politicians as well as the bureaucrats.
Yeah.
Both are responsible.
That's
because bureaucrats will tell the politician how to find the loophole into the law and get the things done for themselves.
Yeah.
So both bureaucrats and politicians' nexus with the industrialist is not going to stop the corruption until this nexus is broken down by the media, as it happens in this country. Media is independent and they try to find out what is happening and they bring everything out into the public domain.
But Dr. Ambedkar, media itself has been
Accused.
in many ways, in India especially.
Well,
Yes.
just the other day I was reading that, I think was it one of these channel TV, Zee TV or somebody, who was accused of,
Yes,
of
Zee TV.
demanding a blackmailing for
But
100
ZTV,
crores.
it happened
Yes.
with ZTV, the
Yes.
man, Mr. Chaudhary,
Yeah.
Yes.
and he said,
Jindal.
Jindal
asked him, Jindal said to me 25, I said no, 100 crores.
crores.
So he wanted 100 crores, ZTV, to stop the things, you see.
Yes.
And I think some people have that power, economic power. That's why Arvind Kejriwal was saying that it is Reliance who are ruling the country, not the Prime Minister.
That is true
Well,
to a certain extent.
In many ways,
If
it is a fact.
Jaypal Reddy was removed on the insistence of Ambani's, then definitely he is ruling and he is dictating the terms, how to run the nation.
And you see, 2 oil ministers, Iyer
Manish
and
Iyer
Jaypal
and-
Reddy.
But the same thing happens in UK as well. My same point. I'm not supporting corruption, but what I'm saying is it is happening in this country. We had Vince cable taken off when the B-Sky big report was, or acquisition was being discussed in this country.
Yeah.
So the same, because Vince cable was against Rupert Murdoch's
Taking
bid.
over.
So all these things happen. These are pressures.
This is what happened here. Tony Blair stopped BEA, corruption charges in Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely.
You remember that?
Yes,
That's what's happening here also. But the whole point is, here the media did bring it out.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
media did bring it out. The
Exactly.
Times, in recent months, you will see the Times has brought out so many things against corruption.
Yes.
They have
I
been doing
remember 20 years back, a 19-year-old girl has leaked a document which was not in the interest of the nation. She was sacked because of Official Secret Act She went, but the media was after the minister who had written that memo, and he had to resign within 1 week's time. So there is a kind of consciousness among the youngsters here, how the nation should run. I'll tell you, once I was working in the night in the place for the medical emergency. My duty was from 12 o'clock midnight to morning 7 o'clock. 1 o'clock in the night when I was visiting, there were about 5-6 boys with the video camera dancing in the street, 1 o'clock in the night. And that driver, who was 24 years old, who was driving for me in the night, he came to headquarters after our visit and immediately rang the police that such and such places, boys of this 14, 15-year-old dancing with the video camera, they should not be doing that one, and can you go and check that one? Then I asked that boy, his name was Graham, I asked that boy, why are you bothered about that? He said, doctor, we pay taxes, and if such vagabonds, they must not have this kind of video camera, they must have stolen it from somewhere. And if that happens, I have to pay taxes from my pocket. 24-year-old boy telling me, can you find one Indian saying that?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. In India, Indians are frightened perhaps, or they do not want to, they take it for granted that these things are going on.
Probably what is even worse than being frightened or taken for granted is feeling a bit helpless.
Yes.
If I do this, nothing is going to happen.
Yes.
तो मैं क्यों करूं?
And police also,
that is the
police
problem.
also hand in glove with the criminals.
Yeah, well, of course, recently the DIG in Madhya Pradesh was caught with 25 crores. DIG of jail. I don't know how people, DIG of jail was getting money.
How can a police...
Well, I could tell you how he could get, but I don't think that's going to be
How can a
interesting.
police be suspended if he gives a rose flower to a politician? He was suspended.
Oh yeah, Raj Thakre's case.
Raj Thakre's case.
Yeah, I know the case of Mr. Khemka in Haryana.
Yes, but funny enough, Dr. Ambekar, the same police constable then says, I want a ticket to stand for councillor's position. So even he had an ulterior motive.
Yes. Okay, let us come to, is the method which Mr. Kejriwal has taken, is it going to help? Because Kejriwal has said, whether it is Congress or BJP, they are all in it.
One thing Kejriwal has done is he brought the awareness amongst the common man what is happening about the corruption.
Yeah.
Whether the people will change, whether they will accept the money given by the political parties and vote according to their conscience needs to be seen.
Yes, yet to be seen that. Okay.
Well, actually, what I find interesting is Kejriwal seems to now be the energy, the source of power behind the Anna Hazare movement that there was last year. I'm not sure what response he got to this Farrukhabad rally that he conducted. I'm told that the response was quite good, positive. If that is the case, then it is another feather in the cap of the Indian voters or Indian audience who are judging people by the merit, not just by the emotions.
That's right, yeah.
So they are looking at Kejriwal as somebody
he has
who
created an aura that everything is not right at the top.
Yeah.
So people must think, pause, and then vote.
Yeah,
that aura he has created.
Yeah.
But whether he has given the answers to corruption needs to be seen.
Well, exactly the point. By showing corruption, it's like my pathology professor used to say, you do not solve the patient's problem by giving his disease a name.
Yeah.
You just gave him a diagnosis. Where is the solution, doctor?
What is the solution of getting rid of that disease?
But on the flip side, I can argue and say, at least we know that this diagnosis is coming out in the open. And now somebody else, he or somebody else may find an answer. I'm a small man to advise Kejriwal, but I would have thought the good strategy would have been to hit on one party, maybe the incumbent party in the first instance. Now his focus is being diverted. The minute you hit on Congress and the BJP in the next minute,
but unfortunately,
it dilutes the effect.
Within BJP, I remember in my young days, everybody thought BJP is completely corruption free. The way they started was very good, that they were there. The moment they came to power, they saw that, but if Congress people are doing, why can't we do it?
True.
You know, the previous president who was caught there by Tehelka people, it was a common thing. It was there. So that was all the time. The BJP people did. Mr. Mahajan, we all know 10%. He used to get all the time. And he, you know, his son and this thing, and they all became politicians now. His daughter is perhaps a member of parliament or something. You see, and so on the other side, BJP says, oh, we are not family people. But then again, the family comes there also, in BJP also. In Shiv Sena, for example, he has got his two sons, or one son and one cousin, and they are always finding up the same problem. So why do you blame Nehru Gandhi family? Everybody wants his family in India.
They have learned from the Nehru Gandhi family.
Yeah, but what? That's the thing. So if father is there, no, in one way you are a doctor. You want your son to get educated as a doctor. It's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. But they have to get educated. They have to study hard. They have to go there. But here are the politicians whose son become politicians. They get to become other thing. Well, I don't know. Sometimes we get depressed by talking about India. But then at the end of the day, we find a ray of light. And of course, as Mr. Bide said, Mr. Ambedkar said, that there is a ray of light. And that ray of light is the young Indians who are being educated at the moment, who are learning, understanding what they want for the country. And they want a corruption-free India, India which will become a developed country on the same level as the West. And that's not difficult. It's very easy to get into it. When Indians in America, Indians in Britain can, with nothing to show the beginning when they came, can do in 30, 40 years, make a life successful. Same thing in Indians in India also can do their life successful. If they all work honestly, work according to their profession, and achieve the highest level of professionalism. That professionalism must come among young Indians. And that will be the salvation of our country. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back to me next month on first Tuesday of the month again. Good night. Sleep well.